the thing,
Yeah, let's do that.
and we'll just see how the experience is a little different.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, we're live. So yeah, you just asked me. Let's if we can start with some of the exercises. So let's do a few minutes of face stretching first.
Cool.
So for people who are just joining the stream or watching the video later for the first time ever, you can go ahead and stretch and move with a lot of intensity and contractions all the different muscles of your face. You want to include the forehead, eyebrows, eyeballs, different directions, eyelids open, closed, cheeks, lips, nostrils, tongue, jaw, all around. And then keep breathing while you do it. And if you do arrive at a face or combination of muscle contractions that generate some reaction in you, just hold that one for a while. Like if I got here and felt like, well, what the hell, then maybe just stay with that for a while.
Yeah, this one right here, that one used to, like, right in there would really activate something.
So those of you folks just joining us, we're doing the face stretches. You can do it along with us, or you can get scared and click away. Don't just watch. What the fuck, kitty? Don't jump on stuff like that. Put that away so they don't ruin it. Oh, the other person clicked away. Good. Uh, that's good. Oh no, maybe they're back. It's hard to say on here. Um,
I think it's cool we're starting with these today.
mm-hmm.
We get to see how the experience is different.
Yeah. Oh, and anybody that wants to jump on with us, I'm going to click the invite link here and put it in the chat. If you're watching on, well, there's nobody. Let's see. If you're watching on Facebook, oh no, it did post. It did post in the Undoing one. I won't post comments to my personal page. I'm not sure why. Oh, I can't post into groups or profiles. I can post into pages. Not sure why, but. So a little bit longer. We've gone about 3 minutes so far. We'll go a little more.
I do these a lot while I drive.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's kind of amazing because my day job is sales, so I'll do these before a meeting, and then I just walk in. I don't really care. You know what I mean? It's like the mask or the facade or the, I don't know. I've noticed there's a sense of presence that comes in, and I think that presence is not separate from day to day life. It's actually a part of it. So. Oh, good.
Okay, and then after, when you get to the conclusion of it, I like to make like one face really tight and hold it and take a full inhalation, and then Hold the breath for a second. And then count down 3, 2, 1 and say ah and let go. Ah. And then just close your eyes, relax, and feel the effects. Okay, and then next, pull the shoulders up. Hold on as tight as you can. For those watching on Facebook, if you want to get on with us, I put the link there in the comments. So jump on if you feel so inclined.
Come hang out.
Yeah.
Right, in 6 months, we're going to have a lot of these.
Yeah, man, totally. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing something on here every day.
And one day when we're in whatever Croatia together, we'll do some in-person ones.
That'll be great. Yeah. It's fun. Then we can take the phone out and go wander around and do it from wherever. So yeah, pulling the shoulders up towards your ears, holding them up there as tight as you can. Not hurting yourself, but pulling them up real tight. And then keep breathing the whole time and let the rest of your body be relaxed. And so it'll be intense and warm, but you just want to relax into that. And you do this for at least 1 full minute. We'll go a little bit longer than a minute. So those of you just joining us, pull your shoulders up to your ears, hold them real tight, and keep breathing. And then take a full inhalation. Pull them up even tighter and hold the breath. And then 3, 2, 1. Thrust them down. Say ah. Again, take a breath. A couple breaths. Relax and feel the effect. Oh, hey, Katie.
Not a bad way to start the day.
Yeah, definitely. And let's do the panic breath as well. Do you know that one yet? Did I show you that? I think you've done it.
Which one's the panic breath?
That's where you exhale fully and then inhale through. You do this one through your nose. You inhale fully into the chest and suck the belly in and up and hold it there. So it's like, and then you just gasp. It's funny, the beard with the turtleneck. And then you gasp, so at the full inhale, you gasp in for like a last little breath, and you're trying to do it only into the chest. So the belly's sucked in, inhaled fully into the chest, and then you do this gasping for like 20 seconds, and then exhale completely through the nose and push the walls of the belly out. So it's like pushing it out, like ballooning the belly outward while exhaling. And at the complete exhale, then you gasp outward, like, again with the chest, trying to squeeze the last little breath out.
Cool.
until you start to kind of panic from not having the breath. Then you relax and breathe. So we can do like 2 or 3 of those. They're
Oh,
pretty awesome. It's kind of intense, but did you do
yeah.
that one before?
I don't think so. So let's do it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, the beginning, you do it through the nose, and you suck the belly in and up, and inhale into the chest. So like, and then gasping that last little bit. And then exhale through the nose and push the walls of the belly out. Then gasping out through the nose. Till you're almost like fucked up from it. And then breathe. Yeah, that one's that's pretty crazy when you take the breath back in, huh?
I can feel that central channel in the body. Yeah.
Okay, let's do one more of those, or 2 more of those maybe. The second one will be more intense, just because you have more control over the belly muscles. So inhale, suck the belly in completely. Then gasp in through the nose. Try to really move that chest up. Then exhale through the nose. Push the belly out, like really push it out hard. And belches take precedence. And then gasp out with the chest again. So it's like. And then breathe. That one's kind of amazing, huh? It's really like
That one, do you feel like it kind of shoots energy out your arms or your legs sometimes?
I don't know. I feel like the breath. It's like you're squeezing something out, like wringing it out
Right.
for a while, and then it comes rushing back in. It's like I become aware of the life force in a way.
That's really cool.
And I found it funny that we started a talk that's called "Why You Should Never Do Radical Undoing" with Radical Undoing. What a couple of jerks! No.
I love it, but I think what's cool is like I'm curious to know how the quality of the interaction changes when we've undone ourselves just a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How does what comes out of you or what comes out of me from another level of consciousness almost because something softened, loosened up, or there's more presence, or there's more silence, or there's less mass. Like that I'm always curious, like, okay, what's going to come out from that space?
Yeah, and the same goes for singing or playing music or doing art or anything like that. Same thing. If you can do the undoing stuff beforehand, you'll find it's much easier to kind of get into flow. No, kitty. Nah. So, yeah, so I just wanted to touch on why you shouldn't do the undoing work, why you should never do radical undoing. And then I qualified it by saying, unless you absolutely have to. And there's an idea I came across in some Orthodox Christianity talks on by this guy from Australia on YouTube, where he was saying that, and I've come across this in multiple places in the study of Christianity, where, like, if you are ignorant, then you're not judged for your ignorance. You know, like if you're unaware of how to behave and you don't have any clue about it, then you're not really judged for that or held to that standard. But then once you do become aware, then you're held to a higher standard. So that's kind of an interesting point to start off with. If you're like a typical manipulative and unaware person that's just striving for their own little advantage, insignificant advantage in every aspect of life and just manipulating everything, but you're unaware of it, you're just kind of drifting through. And if you're functioning, that's not that bad of a situation for you. You know what I mean? You might have your little complaints or whatever, but it's not really something necessarily to tamper with, to like rip the lid off of your reality. And if you start doing the undoing work, you might find that the people that are in your lives are no longer satisfying to you. You start to become aware, like whatever the job or the situations that you're in are causing a lot of tension, and what you're tolerating starts to become intolerable, and that is a painful thing at first. Or you start to realize nobody really likes you, but they just like how they feel around you, and then you change, or they just have an agreement of opinions with you, and then those opinions change, and then those people like fall away from your life. So they're just a couple pitfalls. Another one is that in the beginning, you're going to become like way more fiercely aware of all the chronic tensions in your body that are out of awareness because they become normalized in society. So it's not normal to be that tense chronically all the time, but it's become normalized. So as we're growing up, we mimic those chronic tensions, like the tense shoulders, tense jaw. So a lot of people feel embarrassed if they let their jaw hang loose. If you just let it hang loose, they think it feels or looks weird. Also, tight in the legs and in the butt, and then also in the diaphragm, in the belly. So people also feel embarrassed if they let their belly just loose. So then their breathing is messed up. So when you begin something like this radical undoing work, it's very, very different from like studying a system of personal development or anything like that. It brings you to this new level of awareness of your body and of the lies that you're maintaining in your mind, which you might find precious, I recall having these discussions with Lance a long time ago, around 2010, that not only are the sort of, how do I put this? The things that you don't like about yourself in your life, those start to fall away. But then the things you love about yourself in your life, those are also revealed to be lies. It's just like lenses through which you're seeing reality, and they're darkening lenses. So then when that stuff falls away, you can find yourself asking, like, what the hell am I doing? What am I even doing with my life at all? What is this all about? And there can be a time where you regret starting the undoing work, regret starting this breath and body work thing. And I don't know if you ever went through that, but I did go through that for a while. I was like, whoa, man, what did I do this for? Everything was cool before. Everything wasn't cool before, but I had that view for a little while.
At least for me, and I'm going to say some of it, I'm going to put it into the context of half of it radical undoing, half of it, working with like a Reichian therapist. It's kind of, in some sense, a lot of the same stuff. But there is a point where I think you have to get in touch with such deep pain that you've held in yourself, or such deep emotional stuff, it's almost easier to say, well, fuck, why did I sign up for this? Because once you start, and if you keep going, there's no turning back,
Yeah.
and you have to, in some sense, process all that deep unconscious repressed material you've held down your whole life. And that's really fucking hard, because that's what everyone's doing. I mean, we're all living in this fake world with a fake smile, playing a fake character, holding our pain at bay, not feeling and not accessing ourselves. But then once you start to get glimpses of that freedom, you really, like you've told me, you're like, when you really open your face and your eyes, you really see. And the more I process a lot of this unconscious stuff, and the more open I get, the more I can look at someone. I can immediately tell if they're open, if they're in pain, if they're hiding. Like, I can see it, because I'm starting to open. It's not that I'm completely open, but it's just that you start to get glimpses of the nature of reality, or you can see who's playing a character, and then you can also tell who's real.
Yeah.
Um, this is not, it's not the easiest path, because once you go down on it, it's going to destroy everything. And you have to go through everything that you went through in the past over again. And then on the other side of that, you're completely free. But I also think freedom is, I think the idea that all these spiritual teachings have said, oh, you're going to live in bliss all the time and one with God or universe. And then it's like, no, I think freedom is going to encompass that. But then you have the freedom to also encompass the other side. Like, you can have an open heart, and then one day your heart can close, and one day you can be blissful, and the next day you can be angry, and you're kind of open to the whole gamut of the experience, but you're not judging it like you used to. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you're experiencing life and reality as it is, as opposed to your interpretations and expectations of it. You're not measuring it against something.
Right. Right. You're feeling everything. You're just feeling whatever life brings. You're feeling, you're experiencing. I mean, how did this work? Like, really, if you were to, I always ask you these questions, but how did it, like, it deconstructed everything for you?
Mm.
Like, the kid from Minnesota is now sitting in Croatia. Like, that's not the same person. So what?
Yeah, it's funny, and maybe on some level there's a. Yeah, no, I can't say it's the same person at all. Yeah, there was many different, like, kind of milestones along that way. That's still happening, you know. Yeah, in the beginning there was just the awareness that something real was finally happening. And then that revealed that all the seeking was like, I didn't know why I was even doing it. I didn't know why I set out to do the seeking. I kind of can trace it back. I had this internal struggle, but that had become externalized. Like, so I believed that I was an atheist and an anarchist, you know. And then that battle, and I was going to protests and traveling all over the country, and that battle, at some point I realized, like, okay, this is kind of, even if you win, like, there's no real way to win this thing. Like, it's kind of absurd on some level. So then I was questioning, like, what am I missing? Like, something's not correct in my worldview, you know? I'm not seeing something right. And then I realized that the battle was internal, and that there was this presupposition that was underneath most, like, self-development and New Age and or whatever people call spirituality, that's not based in any kind of solid tradition, that's not coherent, let's say, and grounded in direct experience, is that there's a presupposition that there's something wrong with the world. There's something wrong with reality. And then that gets internalized, like, okay, there's something wrong with the world and I need to do something about it. And then there's something wrong with me. Without questioning, how could that be or what is that? So then I started seeking, and I got into all the occult stuff. That was step by step, it was like, I'm trying to remember where that really started. Maybe Robert Anton Wilson, which did, ultimately lead me to Hyatt's stuff and then the Undoing experience. So that was actually kind of cool. It pulled the lid off reality, and I was like, okay, this is maybe what I'm missing. There's something here. And then I joined like groups and went through initiations and all this kind of stuff. And studied religion and studied Bible and like, get out of here, get out of here. And like biblical Hebrew and all this. And then at some point, then I found the Undoing stuff. And then that brought me back home to the body. It was just like, whoa.
Can I pause just for a sec?
Yeah, man, of course. Yeah.
Really good to hear. Do you have any, like, because there's people that are probably watching this that have never done this before in their life. They just saw us move our face and our shoulders and all this shit, and they're going, what the fuck? Do you have any, like, specific instances that stand out from your experience in the beginning of, like, wow, I did a session and this is what I experienced? Like, was there a time when you got, because the whole idea of freedom is you don't know how stuck you've been until you've been set free, right? But like, did you ever have a moment when at least some chunk just kind of broke away and you were like, wow, or some experience that at least led you to keep going with this work?
Yeah, the time when I did this full session in Wyoming, I was at my girlfriend's parents' house for Christmas. And Wyoming's beautiful, by the way. Get out of here, kitty. Now I'm gonna put you outside if you can't stop. So, right back again. So I was in Wyoming, and then I'm gonna put this cat outside. Bye bye. No, you gotta go. You gotta go. Sit here. Close the door. All right. So I had opened the windows of the room and put like a towel under the door so I could make the room cold, because I understood from the book and the system the book that I was using to kind of look cool with the warm, whatever. So yeah, with that book and the instructions I had, it said to make the room cool, and that meant just like a few degrees cooler, but I made it like super cold. It was ridiculous. It was snowy outside, and I opened the windows and then did the session. And that's something probably to experiment with, actually, in the wintertime, is make it like extremely cold and try the session. And at first I was struggling to even do the exercises, do the breathing and stuff, because I was so cold. But it made me also fiercely aware of my body. And that might have been why it was such an intense experience. But and it went for like, say, an hour and a half or almost 2 hours. And then when it was finished, I did the sense and feel. And then I was like, my body was so electrified. And I was so aware that it was just fascinating just to even move my toes, I was like, whoa, they seemed like a million miles away from my head. And I was like, whoa, and they move, and there was something just absolutely fascinating about just existence itself. And there was so much peace in that. In some ways, that was the end of the struggle, That was where I experienced what peace really is. It was like, whoa, like this is, like, reality and life is totally fine. It's like, this is like a piece of perfection. And I can relate it to like the idea of like being on an airplane and then completely taking it for granted, like complaining about some ridiculous thing. But you're like, or like Louis C.K. brings it up. He's like, you're sitting in a chair in the sky, like that's like. And people used to kind of be celebrating that back when airplanes were, when commercial air travel first started. It was kind of like, wow, Like we are on a plane, you know? And then you fall asleep to the experience, and then you're complaining about some crap along the way, or how long it takes, or whatever. Same thing. I kind of taken for granted this existence, and then was focused on some imaginary struggle, or even real struggles, whatever those are. But you know, if I had to pay the rent or something, let's say, I didn't have the money. Okay, there's this real, so-called real struggle, but that stuff just disappeared. It melted away, those concerns, you know. And there was this other thing going on. Like, whoa, this is so amazing to realize this, to remember this, to remember what it was like to be like a little kid and totally relaxed and absolute faith in existence. And then to have fallen away from that, you know. So comprehending all that, that was the first major session experience I ever had, and did that by myself. I was in touch with Hyatt at that point, but I hadn't gone and worked with him directly yet. So yeah, that, and then I went upstairs from there, because it was like Christmas dinner. I can't remember if it was the 24th or 23rd, whatever, but I went upstairs for this Christmas dinner, and there was my girlfriend at the time, her brother, her sister, and her parents. And I told them, I told them, like, oh my God, I just had this meditation. I called it meditation, I think, this meditation experience, and I would be doing you guys a disservice, like the worst disservice, if I didn't tell you to do this, you know. So I was like proselytizing it right away to this family who were like, ugh. And they changed the subject, you know, pretty fast to something like mundane. Well, that is a mundane experience, actually, which is funny because people are mostly outside. They've split reality into so-called mundane and then something else, and then they're lost in that mess. But yeah, basically they changed the subject to something more sterile and something, let's say, more appropriate for that context. And then I stopped. I caught myself. I was like, oh, you don't just bring this to the dinner table, you know. But I was so blown away. I mean, I'd gone into that bedroom in one state and left like a different person, you know.
And some of those moments, I mean, some of those big shifts in, I say shifts in consciousness, but some of those really change the trajectory of one's life. Like it's not that the peace or the realization sticks per se, because you can go back out into the world and be a mess and have all this stuff, but it's at least a long enough moment for one's entire sense of reality and how they relate to themselves and the world to just completely flip. And I think it shows you what's possible, right? Mm-hmm. So then, was that for you kind of like, okay, there's really something here? Was
oh,
that,
yeah, dude. That was like overwhelmingly so, yeah. Yeah, it was like, okay, this is... yeah, I was really in touch then. And that triggered a whole bunch of other experiences from there. Like, I started going in cold water all the time. Like, there was... I remember we were walking with full snow gear on, you know, snow pants and big jackets, and there was this river, and it was snowing outside, and then I was like, oh man, I want to go in this river. And I'd remembered a promise I made to myself when I was like 16, where there would always be somebody who's like, oh, don't go swimming in that river, that's filthy, you know, or don't go into that lake, don't go into that pond, don't do this. And I was like, well, I'd rather take the risk of going in rather than living in this fear of not going in the water. So unless it's like obviously, you know, some sewage treatment plant or something, then I'm going to go in. Like if there's any possible way, whether it's cold or warm or whatever, I'm not going to skip out. And so I noticed that I was just compelled to follow up on that promise to myself all the time in the middle of the snow and everything. And that was amazing. And then I also noticed, without any sort of striving or forcing on my part, I started taking a bunch of martial arts classes, rock climbing classes, like the snow camping, the mountaineering, all this kind of stuff. And And then I remembered that I used to not get into that kind of stuff because I was like a fat little kid. And at school they made us run the mile. I don't know if it's like that still or whatever. Probably now everybody gets some prize just for showing up or whatever. But we had to run the mile, and I couldn't run it. And they weren't giving. It's not like they were giving us instruction or training leading up to this. It was like just basic gym class and stuff. And then suddenly one day you have to run the mile, and the other kids were like doing it, and I couldn't run it. I would have to walk. I felt like I was going to die, and I'd cut the corners, and they're yelling at you, and people are making fun, I was just like, shit, how do I do this? And so then I was like terrified of that kind of experience. I didn't know that I was, but I was avoidant of it. And then one day for one of the classes, this is when I realized it had changed. All this happened in one day. I was supposed to order a gi for jiu-jitsu, for Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I asked the guy, hey, what size should I get for this? And he looked at me and he said, he's like, oh, you're kind of tall and lanky like me, so get the same size as the one I have. And I was like, what's he talking about, I'm like a fat kid. And then and then later that day I found out for the snow camping class that you had to run 2 miles in a certain amount of time, or you couldn't go on the trip because you'd be a liability. You had to have a certain level of fitness to be able to go on that trip with the group. And I was just like, I was ready to drop the course. But that guy, then my martial arts teacher, had just told me that. So I was wearing jeans and like boots. And I went straight to this track that was there at the gym, or in the rec building at the University of Oregon. And just in my clothes, in my street clothes, and there's other people there in all their gym gear and special shoes and stuff. I just started running around that track, and people were looking at me, probably making fun, because it looked absurd in these jeans and boots. And I ran the 2 miles, and I made it way under the time that I needed for the course. And I was like, yes, yelling in that by myself, and I went outside and felt like it was the most glorious achievement I'd ever made. So that can be symbolic of the undoing experience. Not just that experience, right? But how, for me, that was like the biggest terrifying thing. And I didn't know that I had developed a complete avoidance of all these activities, this whole aspect of life. And I even had a rationalization system about it. Like, oh yeah, why should you run, if our ancestors used to only run when they're running away from something. I don't need to run. You know what I mean? Like all these, but with that, you hear that anger covering it too. It was always like that. Oh, I don't like to do that kind of stuff. That's dumb, Yeah, now, I do think some gym workout is dumb. I think some of the machines are dumb, but I don't think working out is dumb,
I mean, look at how you completely shifted and took what was traumatic. I know you don't like that word, but
that's okay.
Overwhelming traumatic for your
yeah.
teenager, and you shifted it, and then
it shifted automatically. That was
shifted
a
on
crazy
its
thing.
own.
Yeah.
But all you did was change yourself, and then your outcome changed.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go in about 1 minute, but I think that may be even something that we can continue talking. Like there's so many things in your life, in my life, in our Sunday session, in people's lives. We're not saying go become a better runner. It's no. Let's open up yourself, and then whatever the external thing is will change because you've changed.
Yeah, you're blocking out this chronic tension, and then the lies in the mind are blocking out kind of the majesty of existence. They're blocking out the full range of human experience. And it's like, it's absurd. It's unnecessary. And it's not that, I mean, it is a big deal, but it's not that hard to just do the exercises. And that's all you have to do. Do the movements, do the breathing, do your sense and feel. And then silent presence, that was going to make it a little smoother than I had it. But if you do that, man, everything that needs to happen is going to happen. It's just going to unearth everything, and your life will start to actually flow. And then it'll be amazing. Your bullshit detector will be activated, and you'll be able to see how you're bullshitting yourself, and how most books and systems, all this stuff. There might be gems in those, okay? There are gems in almost everything, but most of it's crap and a delay of this experience, Getting
and you
back to
can't
ground
embody
zero.
it. You can't embody it because if there's a mind-body split in us, how
Yeah,
can we actualize all these ideas?
yeah.
On that point, I'm going to have to run off this one a little early today, but
That's all right, man. Yeah, I'm gonna
yeah.
stick around and do some music, I think, or see if anybody jumps on. But yeah,
I also think I'd love to hear more of these stories because these are gold, man. Like
we
these are
should get
the
into the hitchhiking stuff too, because that was kind of led up to everything else, the hitchhiking. So maybe we'll touch on that next time.
sure.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, I don't know if you noticed this, but after doing those exercises, we could have just fucking sat here in silence. I didn't feel
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I feel really content and just looking
yeah,
at you. I enjoy that too. Yeah, it's kind of like
yeah,
ah, like super content and present and like compassionate, in a passionless way though. Compassionate, like I don't even know how to describe it. Like magnanimous, you know.
maybe we'll one day we'll do exercises, silent presence for 5 or 10 minutes. And I don't know. We'll see if any questions want to come out. But at that point,
Yeah, that's ideal. Yeah, we can do
yeah,
that. Let's do that next time.
cool, man. I'll see you in a couple days. Thank you.
All right, nice to see you. Enjoy. So yeah, if you're watching, why don't you jump on? I put the links there in the chat. And before, if nobody jumps on, I'm gonna do a little bit of music. And let's see. So let's see. I was gonna do make sure I'm in tune here. So let me open up the earpiece. Okay, so let's go here. We'll try that. Now let's do yeah, there we go. Here we go. Yes, we're gonna do one called Landlocked Blues that I've always really loved. Bright Eyes Soul. There we go. If you walk away, I'll walk away. Just tell me which road you'll take. 'Cause I don't want to risk our paths crossing someday. So you walk that way, I'll walk this way. And the future hangs over our heads, and it moves with each current event, until it falls all around like a cold steady rain, just staying when it's looking this way. And the moon's laying low in the sky, forcing everything metal to shine. And the sidewalk holds diamonds like a jewelry store case. They argue, walk this way, no, walk this way. Laura's asleep in my bed. As I'm leaving, she wakes up and says, I dreamed you were carried away on the crest of a wave. Baby, don't go away, come here. There's kids playing guns in the street, and one's pointing his tree branch at me. And so I put my hands up, I say enough is enough. If you walk away, I'll walk away. And he shot me dead. Found a liquid cure for my landlocked blues. It will pass away like a slow parade. It's leaving, but I don't know how soon. world's got me dizzy again. You'd think after 44 years I'd get used to the spin, but it only feels worse when I stay in one place. I'm always pacing around or walking away. I keep drinking the ink from my pen, and I'm balancing history books up on my head. But it all boils down to one quotable phrase: if you love something, give it away. A good woman will pick you apart, a box full of suggestions for your possible heart. But you may be offended and you may be afraid, but don't walk away, don't walk away. Made love on the living room floor, with the noise in the background from a televised war. In the deafening pleasure I thought I heard someone say, if we walk away, they'll walk away. But greed is a bottomless pit, and our freedom's a joke, we're just taking the piss. When the whole world must watch the sad comic display, if you're still free, start running away, 'cause we're coming for you. I feel more like a stranger every time I go home. So I'm making a deal with the devils of fate, saying let me walk away, please. You'll be free, child, once you have died from the shackles of language and measurable time. Then we can trade places, play musical graves. Till then, walk away, walk away, walk away. So I'm up at dawn, putting on my shoes. I just want to make a clean escape. I'm leaving, but I don't know where to. I know I'm leaving, but I don't know where to. Alright, so we got that, and I may do one more song just at the end. Let me see if there's one that comes to mind. There's one I'd like to try. I don't know how well I can sing it right now. We'll try it. Let's see what we got here. Future spills its intangibles, an unknown set of variables, a path that's splitting infinitely up ahead. So tell me, what's the use to pick and choose from what you should or shouldn't do? That's time spent better sleeping in your bed. wide awake in a shopping mall, trying clothes on from off of the wall. Yeah, anything to entertain yourself. 'Cause a costume can be quite comfortable. It can make you feel more beautiful. It can even make you look like someone else. But it's still you. So there's nothing you can do. Like a bad habit, the one you couldn't kick, there it always is. And it's nothing that no doctor's gonna fix. They pat your back bruised with their accolades, and all four walls are a trophy case, but that doesn't make it any less of a cage. But you can make it all less difficult by embracing the ephemeral. Then you'd never have to worry or explain. 'Cause if it's really all just physical, then my memory's immaterial. So why then do I remember you at all? But I do, my friend. I've seen your face. We shared a cup. I know the taste. Its sweetness is relentless on my lips. So help me drink in everything that is, like a freed convict, drunk on redemption from the way I've been. Well, I swear this time that things will be different. Right and wrong, they've never been that far apart. For those who'd write that sentence where you hang, we will be lifted up from all of this. Yeah, we will transcend the insignificance of our existence. Yeah, your body's gone, but angel, you will live. Okay. Let me see, there was one more. One more, if you can tolerate it, and then I'll be out of here. It's one I loved in high school. Let's see what we got here. I was going to do Unchained, but we could do Unchained Melody as well. Let's do Unchained. I haven't done Unchained Melody for a while. I think my voice is messed up for it right now. Let's try this. I have been ungrateful. I've been unwise, restless from the cradle. Now I realize it's so hard. Wow, I'm not getting it. It's so hard to see the rainbow through glasses dark as these. Maybe I'll be able from now on my knees. Oh, I am weak. Oh, I know I am vain. Take this weight from me. Let my spirit be unchained. I'm overcome. Seems that we both forgotten to go home. Oh, oh, have I seen an angel, or have I seen a ghost? Where's that Rock of Ages when I need it most? Oh, I am weak. Oh, I know, Lord, I am vain. Take this weight from me. Let my spirit be unchained. Such a nice song. Sorry, it took me a second to catch it. To really catch it. Wonder if I can do the. Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch a long, lonely time, and time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much. Are you still mine? I need your love. I need your love. Godspeed your love to me. Lonely rivers flow to the sea, to the sea, to the open arms of the sea. Lonely rivers cry, wait for me, wait for me. I'll be coming home, wait for me. Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch a long, lonely time. And time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much. Are you still mine? I need your love. I need your love. Godspeed your love to me. All right. That's about it for me today. Thank you for jumping on. And I will see all of y'all again later. If you just jumped on at the end of the stream, go back to the beginning. Check out the convo with me and Jonah and try out some of the exercises for yourself if you're willing and able. Much love.